can help, really give you exposure.
Yeah, and I think for women especially, sometimes we can feel as though even if, women business owners have so much substance, they have so much to offer, there's so much diversity of leadership and ideas. And I think especially for women, though, sometimes they can feel like they would be more inclined to sort of shirk away and stand out. And so really holding themselves, really empowering themselves to tell their story and to do that in a meaningful and engaging way where they're serving their audience is really what we want to help them step out and really step into the spotlight to shine and do.
I think it's hard for people to understand too if they don't have exposure. I mean, you've been in the business for a long time. It is difficult. You are in a big pool of people, and so not only is the business hard, but the exposure, it's not an easy thing. People shouldn't feel overwhelmed by that. They are not alone. This is not just about them not being able to do it.
No, that's so true. That's so true. And I think, not only there's mindset, I think there's implementation and there's knowledge. So some people just don't even know where to begin. They have no idea. They get overwhelmed. They're confused about the difference between paid, owned, earned, and social media. And they only just focus on maybe Facebook or Twitter and wonder, why can't I stand out? Why is no one paying attention?
Yeah.
And I think, so certainly having that knowledge is very important. Understanding how to craft your story, your message, to fuse your personal and your professional brand, and do it in a way that you're really helping and serving and propelling thought leadership, because it is also about your business. But at the end of the day, too, for many business owners, it's about making a difference and empowering positive change and the impact they want to see.
So I know you.
I'm Jamia Drummond Bay, and I am currently a participant in the 10 weeks course, but I also completed the 5 weeks challenge twice, and both times they've been amazing. For so long, I have taken different courses to try to find the best ways to get my message out there, right? And so each time, if I took a branding course, well, what do you do in the beginning? Oh, well, you need to figure out who's your ideal ICA, your ideal client, right? Or you need to fill out the branding worksheets, and you have to do all of these things. And then when you're done, you're still in the same place. And that's what it was for me. And this course, the course hasn't even started yet, right? But just through the challenge, just learning to tell my story and craft it in a way that can get someone's attention immediately before they see a shiny object, right? And then saying it over and over and over until I know, thank you, Mary, hi. Until I know, the story that I want to keep sharing, because that's what a lot of our passions are based upon. They're based upon stories, right? And our purpose. And so what this challenge did for me was help me to really connect to what it was that I wanted to strive towards right now. Hi, Narita. You should really do this course. Oh, my goodness. But what I always thought was, man, if my Instagram game is great, if I, make sure that I get the best graphics. Hi, thank you. The best graphics. If I tweet, if I get a VA for that stuff, then that's what I need. But actually, if you get connected to the right platform that's really connected to what your passion is and serves your audience, that's all you need. You just need that one connection, that one platform, instead of doing like the 100 likes or whatever, because I've done that. I've taken all of these courses that told me, you need to spend 2 hours a day on Instagram, or, you need to craft all of these things. And then in this course, on the second day, I got in this amazing travel blog, which is great for what I do. And then the first pitch day, I got selected for this major podcast. And then not only that, you learn how to pitch your story in a way that's genuine. So I'm also building relationships with these people. Please don't fill out any more ideal client worksheets or any more branding worksheets, because when you do the work, and because I'm a teacher, I believe in learning through action. If you do the work, if you're actively practicing and pitching along the way, you build in a way that really works for you, right? Your business is growing and moving at the same time. And this is why I really feel like this is the course that we all need, but don't know that we need. And so we're busy taking all of these courses telling us that we need to choose the right colors or branding or, figure out where the money is. And really what you need to do is learn the way to share your story, connect with people who are going to help you grow because they want to, because they share the same message at the same time. I've just been so grateful to be in this course. I've been so connected. I'm actually a really deep introvert, but because I'm sharing what I'm really passionate about, I've been really excited to meet people and talk about it and share my purpose. I do not promote things that I do not believe in. So trust me, I really, really, really believe in this program. And Mary's here and she's very connected and very vocal, and she's given more attention and one-on-one connection and assistance than I've ever seen anyone give in anything I've paid thousands for. To be honest, in all of the courses that I've paid thousands and thousands for, I've never actually connected with the creator of the course, right? And Mary's here holding your hand. She knows your story. She's telling you this person is for you. This magazine is for you. This is how you pitch this magazine, this blog. She is right there with you. So I think everyone deserves that experience, and all you have to do is show up for yourself. So here's to showing up for yourselves.
I'm Donna Brown, and I am an intuitive business strategist and mentor. So the title of this was What Mary Hasn't Told You About the VIP Membership, and that it is like the coolest thing ever. For her, I guess certain things seem normal, and she's talking about things in a very matter-of-fact way. And she's, as you guys know by now, she speaks pretty quickly. So we're all writing like crazy people, and thankful that there's a recording, because there is no way you can possibly keep up with the amount of information that she dishes out with just such nonchalance. Anyways, and so clearly, by the way. So we're a small group, really powerful people in there. Everybody who is determined to make their mark and to support each other. All I can say is, I would jump on it. The information is so incredibly valuable. I've already been chosen for a podcast, and some of the other people already have been. We've done one thing. We've done one pitching session, and 3 people have been chosen. So I would say that that's amazing. And really, the support of Mary is amazing. Really, I have no words to describe it. She teaches us all as if we were one-to-one retainer clients. That's all I can say. So if you have any doubts, jump in. I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet. So that's it for now. If you have any questions or want to ask me anything in a private chat or anything, feel free to reach out. Bye.
Are you looking for a way to get your story out into the world so you can serve more people, make a bigger impact, and at the end of the day, make more money? Do you wonder why others seem to be everywhere, on every podcast, in every publication, getting tons of speaking opportunities, while you struggle to even get a reply to your pitch? If your head starts to spin when you think about the tornado of PR to-dos you know you should be doing, you've come to the right place. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know, so we're here to help. 10 Weeks to Media Mentions That Convert is a live training course and publicity masterclass that takes you from being just outside the circle of influence to being a highly sought-after industry leader with the ability to leverage media mentions into actual paying clients so that you can rapidly scale your business and raise your public profile. Join us now. It all starts June 13th.
Mary, you offer some of those like really on the ground skills. We were talking in the break about how to get your message, your business, not necessarily ignored by, the people who can help, really give you exposure.
Yeah, and I think for women especially, sometimes we can feel as though even if, women business owners have so much substance, they have so much to offer, there's so much diversity of leadership and ideas. And I think especially for women though, sometimes they can feel like they would be more inclined to sort of shrink away than stand out. And so really owning that substance, really empowering themselves to tell their story and to do that in a meaningful and engaging way where they're serving their audience is really what we want to help them step out and really step into the spotlight to shine and do.
I think it's hard for people to understand too if they don't have exposure. I mean, you've been in the business for a long time. It is difficult. You are in a big pool of people. And so not only is the business hard, but the exposure, it's not an easy thing. People shouldn't feel overwhelmed by that. They are not alone. This is not just about them not knowing how to do it.
No, that's so true. That's so true. And I think, not only there's mindset, I think there's implementation and there's knowledge. So some people just don't even know where to begin. They have no idea. They get overwhelmed. They're confused about the difference between paid, owned, earned, and social media. And they only just focus on maybe Facebook or Twitter and wonder, why can't I stand out? Why is no one paying attention?
Yeah.
And I think, so certainly having that knowledge is very important. Understanding how to craft your story, your message, to fuse your personal and your professional brand, and do it in a way that you're really helping and serving and propelling thought leadership, because it is also about your business. But at the end of the day, too, for many business owners, it's about making a difference and empowering positive change and the impact they want to see in
So
their
I know.
Hi, everybody. We are so excited to get started today. Hello, hello. I know those of you joining me on Zoom, if you're on Zoom joining, you can use the chat. We'll be able to interact, and we're going to really dive into actually creating your PR roadmap. So excited. Would love, I see Donna's on in the chat. Would love to know who else is on, and if you guys have your roadmaps. We have filled out, we actually have versions of these without the photos as well for printables in the 10 weeks course. And this is going to be one of the big things we help you guys through, just so that you really understand how you can take very small actions to have a great impact and a great just really difference in the work that you're doing. Hi, Leslie, good to see you. Would love to know who else is on as we have folks join. One of the things that all of you did, now let me make a couple of announcements, because I know even I've gotten great feedback from all of the folks that are in our 10 weeks program that, we've had new people joining the program. They've been having amazing success implementing and getting really great PR wins. And I think people didn't realize that we are ending enrollment. So we've been having a lot of fun. We've been taking you guys on this journey. This is a live class. So we wanted to give folks, even that weren't enrolled in the program already, a taste to show them and really help them power up their PR efforts. But because this is a live class, enrollment ends. So enrollment is ending. This really is your last opportunity if this is something that you're considering. We've had a number of people join this morning, and so we were excited. One of the women, Karen, who's been amazing to help us, she's really an expert and has helped through a lot of the, with being a authority is a book writer, many of you are. We're actually probably going to have Karen, who joined today, do possibly a guest series, and we have all sorts of fun things lined up. So what I wanted to share was that this is the last chance. So really, if you've been thinking about this program, what we did was, for anybody who enrolled today, we gave them a $500 discount when you pay in full off of the elite level, and we gave them a $250 discount for those who joined up at the influencer level. Both do provide you with the digital press kits, and we really will go through today in your PR roadmap how that really is the foundation. And hi, Karen, I see you there. And so really just excited to work with you guys, and want to let you know there is the phone number that is on the website or the sales page, and I'll ask my team to put it in now, the phone number too. For anybody who is on the webinar, in addition to that, even though we sold out of all of the full day one-on-ones with me, we sold out of all of the half day one-on-ones with me, but anyone who's on this webinar, we will commit, even if we sell out of them, you will be able to get the 90-minute session one-on-one with me at any point in the course, for me to actually just ensure that you are successful and that your media mentions really take you to the next level. So we'll be putting that number in there in case you guys want to enroll, or of course you can always enroll on the website. But I'm going to go ahead and dive right in, and one of the things that we're going to start with today is the quiz that many of you began with. So I'm excited, and I will share my screen here. How many of you guys took the quiz? So I'll just kind of walk you down memory lane. We first kicked off the first 5 days to Media Mentions Challenge. I believe it was April 24th. And then we ran it again. That was during National Small Business Week the next week because it had been so popular. And we had hundreds of people go through it. I think just in the last few weeks, literally about 1,000, a little over 1,000, between 1,000 and 1,200. I haven't looked at the latest report, but people that enrolled in that course, went through that course, reported back, a huge amount of media wins. We actually haven't even been able, we've been keeping track, and I think we got up to counting something like 300 media wins, but we're going to go back and collect all of the media mentions and have sort of a standardized system for those in the 5 days course and the 10 weeks course, because we just love seeing you guys have incredible, just advancements and jumping to the next level. So would love to know, hey Laura, glad to see that you're on. Hi Crystal, awesome, great that you printed out the worksheet. Hey Mary, hey Christine, awesome, glad that you guys are joining. How many of you guys that are joining did already take the quiz when you first joined, either earlier when you did it, or when if you did the 5 days course more recently? Would love to know in the chat how many of you guys took the quiz, and if you remember what your result was. Were you, oh Karen, I know you took it both times and we talked about this morning. I'd love to know how many of you guys have actually gone through the quiz, and that's what I'm going to take you through today, because I want to see what you learned in the course, in the 5 days course. And I'd also love to know, for those of you that are on, just what any of the big ahas that you may have gotten, and why PR is something that you realized was important to you, why it was something that you wanted to really focus on. And what I'll do is actually pull up the quiz, because we are going to take you guys through it right now. So I will share my screen with you, and you guys will be able to take the quiz right along with me. So can everyone see my screen here? Perfect. And I can't actually, now when I'm on this side, I can't see the chat. So let me know if you can't. Raise your hand or do something to just let me know. But I think you guys can see it now. And so I'm going to just go ahead and show you. So what I would, and I will have to come back to the chat for this. So what do you guys think, for those of you that are here, what has been your biggest challenge when it comes to PR? Is it that you just thought that social media was a PR plan and you were, thinking that you could stand out alone? And if you've participated in any of our free trainings, you know that social media is absolutely a very important, integral part of any successful PR plan. But it really is what comes next, right? It's what comes after you're able to really understand how to stand out with more powerful media coverage, and then use social media through the content amplification tools that we teach you to really be more successful in leveraging that in order to maximize and monetize it. Is it that you want to get featured in editorial news coverage, but you're just seeing it happening for other people and not yourself? Is it that you've had maybe some simple media mentions, but it's what we taught in the course, that it's maybe just in that first quadrant of media mentions and not going on to the media mentions that are actually going to scale your business, like becoming a contributor or doing a long form interview? So would love to know in the chat, or if you already are somebody who really has a ton of Google results and a great PR plan and is always doing interviews, and if that's bringing in a lot of new prospects. So let me know in the chat, and I'll come back over to the chat box so I can see that. Which of those, for those of you guys that are on the call, what have you really, what has been the biggest challenge when it comes to your PR roadmap? Because I think as I help you guys build it, that's going to be really, really important in which areas I focus on to make it the most valuable for those of you that are on the call. Karen, okay, both times. Getting something that has an effect on your business. You've had some but didn't do anything. Yes, and that's often the case. I think, sometimes when you have a media mention that is just a quote, and especially if it's not specifically aligned with your message that's designed to really attract the clients that are specifically going to be able to be helped most by the funnel that you've set in place in that article, then oftentimes that can happen, right? Because we're just all inundated with so much noise. So it can be difficult to just sort of slow down and understand why something would be important to pay attention to. let's see, you put number 2, since you think you'd have solid mentions. I see, yes. Knowing what to pick that will work given the limited time you have. Yes, and I think, Mary, that is really the key, right? And that's where we're gonna go, and I'm gonna really spend a lot of time today as I take you guys through teaching this workbook and helping you fill out your own worksheets, is that it's about how much time you have, right? So at the end of the day, the first 2 questions, how much time and how much money? And then that's going to dictate everything else. Because really, even with just a half an hour a week, you can see a very consistent increase and impact if you're consistent with even a half an hour a week. And obviously, the more time, the better return. But also for many business owners, you don't necessarily need the type of coverage that a publicist, for instance, needs, right? Like I get media requests all the time. People now call me to be guests on their radio, on their TV shows all the time. And, depending on what we're promoting, I'll say yes or no. But the amount of publicity I need usually is far greater because I'm a publicist. So I believe that if I'm going to show other people how to do it, I constantly have to be at the top of my game with not only my clients, but also with our own agency, so that we are always innovating and able to help our clients, especially in the one-on-one side. But now with this new pilot influencer side, I'm excited to be able to share with you guys the same secrets and tricks that we use to get them a lot of coverage as well. Yes, budget 30 minutes more or less per week. And that's where, especially in the beginning, it will take longer. In the beginning, I think, it's reasonable to want to allow at least an hour a week, because you're also learning. So it's going to, things will be slower and you're also building. But I would say that what we've designed the course around, and really the goal, is that you set these foundations, you have these templates, you have your digital press kit in place so that all of that exists. And then it's very quick. Like for me, when I need to send something off to my editor at Huffington or Forbes or anywhere else, it's 5 minutes. It takes me just 1 second to whip something up or to repurpose something. And sometimes I'll even send them a link to a Google Doc of a story that maybe is, once you're already a contributor, you're not trying to become accepted. So you can even send ideas that are maybe not fully formed and just, say, hey, what do you think about this? So it can be very simple and a lot less time consuming. And especially once you have the key is to getting the systems in place. Oh, thank you, Marie. So sweet. Okay, we're going to continue right along, and I'll continue to share my screen, and just know that when we're going through the quiz, so I'm going to go ahead and say, you should Google me, right? Because I do have, I guess if you Google me, you'll get a lot of press queries. Are you all using now a journalist sourcing site to respond to queries? I'm going to go ahead and put a yes for all of you, because you now know what Haro is. I will say that though Haro is just the first type of media mention, it is not going to land you the type of things that you need to scale business development. Now, what you will be able to do is, if you understand how to become a contributor, which is media mention type 3, at a large enough publication, then you can become the author who has been using Haro to source queries. And I can tell you that that can be an incredible tool in and of itself for business development, because then now you, just like being a podcast host, which as a podcast host would take up much, much, much more of your time, posting as something on Haro or SourceBottle or any of the other free tools or resources would really help. If you're writing a story, again, you're going to be writing about the type of problems your ideal clients face and offering your expertise to authentically and legitimately help them. And when you do that, you're naturally going to develop business relationships. And I wrote about it in the email I shared a few evenings ago. Really, that when I wrote the story for Entrepreneur Magazine, the scale up secrets of entrepreneurs, I was able to reach out to influencers that are huge, that have huge followings, big celebrities. And, when I called and said, hey, I'm calling from Entrepreneur Magazine, they didn't care. They didn't know who Mary Sims was. But when I said, I'm calling because I'm writing an article for Entrepreneur Magazine, I was invited quickly into their inner circle and given access on a level that would not have been possible had I not been calling to write that story. And so certainly the knowledge and insight that I gained, but also the relationships and the business development and everything that spawned around that was all as a result of, because I could make that phone call and say, or actually send that email that was then subsequently, followed up by phone calls. But those relationships, getting a yes quickly from an influencer, one of the easiest and quickest ways to do that is by calling to offer to highlight their expertise in one of the articles that you're going to be working on. So that's one way that I think people don't really realize, but is really critical. And in the 10 weeks course, we take you guys through some of those best practices and teach you how to do that, and really get you, striving to be that goal to become a contributor. Because all of you, when you have expertise and you're able to understand, how you can do that, you really are able to add value and spur business development in a very, very fast fashion. So we'll go ahead and say yes for this one. Do you know the first thing you should do when a reporter calls or emails you? And I covered this in many of the live streams, but I know, we designed this course to be something where we cover a lot, right? Because depending on who you are, you may only need to implement one of these type of tactics, maybe 30 minutes a week to have a huge impact. But at least by having a huge understanding of everything that's out there, you won't, hopefully you'll be an educated consumer, right? Hopefully the next time somebody tells you that social media is like what you should be spending all of your money on, you'll understand that yes, you could do that, but if you're only using social media, then you're going to spend a lot of money in paid ads. Sam Evans, who we interviewed in the course today on day 5, if you went through the Thinkific portal in that course, he's an excellent, awesome entrepreneur, really, really cool guy. And in fact, again, the first time I reached out to Sam, it was for one of the stories I was working on, and immediately he got a call back, and in fact, then he even asked me to do a proposal, and we didn't wind up working together in a business sense, in large part because at that time I was featuring him in the story, and Entrepreneur has very strict rules about business relationships that you have with people that you feature in your stories, as opposed to some other publications that don't, as long as you just close it. So, and we'll get to that question in a minute. But these are the type of things, these type of nuanced things that if you know them, you can just really scale your business very quickly and make new connections and really get introductions to people that you otherwise would not have been able to. But if you don't know them, you can at worst break the law, and at best just waste a lot of time. So the goal is that we give you guys the tools so that you're not wasting time and you're really maximizing your efficiencies and only focusing on the area when we go over the PR roadmap that really is the best for you depending on your outcome goals. So the first thing you should do when a reporter calls or emails is ask questions. If a reporter is reaching out to you, I have so many people when I call, because sometimes again, and we'll get to the question about the media being the fourth estate. One of the reasons we get you guys started with podcasts is because podcasters generally are not doing a gotcha story. But with a journalist, you just never know. And so in the 10 weeks course, one of the things that we share with you guys in the interviewing module when we get to that is a list of questions you absolutely must ask a journalist before you agree to an interview. Because I can't tell you how many times when I've been on the journalist side of things, people have agreed to these interviews because they're just so happy, not really realizing what the story is. And so there's certainly a list of questions you can diplomatically ask. And if you don't know how to do it, you run the risk of upsetting the journalist, because journalists are very, they really take pride in their role as the question taker. So they don't want to give you, if you ask them for a list of their questions, that's the one thing to never do. Don't ask the journalist for a list of the questions. But there's a way that you can do it. I will tell you, I always get the list of questions. In fact, the people that I've worked with, at a senior level in corporate America and government, they always say, oh, well, no, get the list of questions. And I always have to explain, no, that's not what I do. I don't ask that. Like, yes, we have questions that we ask to get those list of questions, so that we're helping the journalist, but never just outright say, I need to see a list of your questions in advance, because that's that will just really upset. So I'll say yes here for this, that that the first thing you should do is ask questions. And I'm gonna just come back over the chat and make sure you guys don't have any questions for me while we're going through this. I'm gonna try and, let's see. Make sure, publicity people, very interesting. Okay, great. If you guys have questions, just let me know and I'll keep going right along. And so let me know too, for those of you that have been, either going through 5 days or 10 weeks, let us know what some of the media mentions you guys have been getting and what's your goal to jump to the next level. Because usually once you get, once you're able to land that first type of media mention, then, it gives you the confidence to really understand how to begin to focus on the media mentions that are going to help you focus on increasing revenue and scaling business development. So we'll go ahead and put yes for this one. And this is huge. I touched on this a little bit, and this is the story that we shared in the course as well. Do you know the important difference between podcast and editorial media coverage in terms of the FTC regulations and how it really will greatly influence your pitch? The issue here is the idea of reciprocity and the fact that when you're reaching out to a podcaster, you really can share with them. Oh, you can offer them the world. You can even offer a podcaster, a free, you say you offer a great service and you want them to try it out. You can offer them that free, and there's really no ethical constraints from a podcaster, which essentially is just another business owner, for them to accept that. Whereas a journalist, for the most part, most journalists, especially if they're in a, granted, it changes if they're staff, if they are freelance, or if they're a contributor, but still, as a general rule, most journalists are not able ethically to accept any gift that would be greater than the value of $25 to $50, depending on where they work. And so, just the sheer notion of you approaching them with that, if they're a journalist, generally they'll have a very bad taste. They'll feel like, oh, you don't understand journalism, and you don't understand that that's not my why, as opposed to a podcaster who's in business, that probably is their why, right? Their why is they're hosting that podcast to add value, but also to increase their listenership. And for a journalist, the corporation behind the journalist, certainly their goal is to always be increasing the viewership and increasing the audience. But for the journalists themselves, who's the person you're pitching, for them, it's very different. Generally, storytelling is what they value most. So you really want to make sure that your pitch is very much focused on the story and not on what you're going to do for the journalist or, any business relationships that you might try to offer, because that in and of itself could be a reason that they turn down your pitch. So that's really important. And we have a whole section on ethics in the 10 weeks course, just to make sure you guys are equipped, and some worksheets to make sure you don't make any missteps there, because there's a lot you can do and there's a lot that's nuanced. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to make sure you guys have best practices so that you understand how to really navigate and maximize and monetize in an ethical way that helps your businesses to shine. The media is called the fourth estate because they consider themselves the watchdog of government and private sector. And that is where I'm actually working on a story now called The Worst Media Mention I Ever Received. And it has been so fun. I used Heartwood for it, and I've gotten tons of input. So many people, so many business owners who were DIYing their PR, and then even some PR pros with just really funny stories. One woman wrote in and she said that she was doing this television interview and she thought she was doing so great, but she hadn't really worked on her message. She didn't understand just how to sort of structuralize her approach to media. And so she went out and she did this interview, and she was, sort of raving about, what, business has been great. Yeah, we're supporting this event, and we had 4 sales. And she didn't realize that 4 was not an impressive number. And so it was funny to read about her, kind of giving this experience back, because then of course the news made it not a good segment. It was sort of, they sort of poked fun at that. So it's been really, it's a great opportunity, and it's really just important to prepare yourself. There's no reason to be afraid of the media as long as you've done the proper preparation and you really have the knowledge to equip yourself, because the media is the fourth estate. And if they, at best, it will be a lighthearted, funny story. At worst, I always work with clients on our one-on-one retainer side that say, oh, no, I don't want to talk about that. And so that's why one of the things that we have lined up for you guys at the elite influencer level is mock murder board press conferences, because live in real time, I will dig in and ask you the tough questions, because you want those to be asked in a safe space. You don't want to go on TV and then the thing about your business that you were either, didn't understand how to explain well or weren't wanting to talk about, is going to be the question if you don't understand how to position yourself that is asked. So there's definitely ways you can bridge and phrase that, but the media is not paid advertising. So you can't just assume that you're going to have a good outcome. A good outcome comes from media training and preparation. So that's really what we want to make sure you guys understand. The media is the fourth estate, and it's their job to really, to tell a story, not just to make you look good. It's your job to make you look good when you show up, and our job to help you do that. Who is the best gatekeeper? So this is a bit of not a trick question, but this one is any of these answers will give you a good, any of these 2 answers. So you either could go to the assignment editor or an executive producer. Those are both two really good contacts. You also could pitch a reporter. You generally don't want to pitch the news director. And we have worksheets for this in the 10 weeks course for those of you as we roll out. We've already rolled out the podcast full list of 100 plus contacts and that pitching template. And then for each section, we'll be rolling out new contacts as you guys jump to the next level. You probably don't want to be pitching the investigative reporter unless you're trying to tell a negative story about someone else. And you always, one thing that you don't sometimes do, but that I'll give you for everyone, the best practice is if a reporter calls you, you always want to double check. And if they have a title that says special projects producer or investigative producer, you want to be very, very wary before you do that interview, because most investigative reporters have gotten smart. In their title, they won't call themselves an investigative producer. They'll call themselves a special projects producer. But generally that's code for investigative producer. And if you are doing a story and you don't realize that they probably, they will ethically sort of, they don't, again, it goes back to the questions you need to be asking to make sure that, again, the news coverage that you get is news coverage that favorably will help you to propel your business. So we'll go ahead and put assignment editor here for that one. Do you know the difference? And I hopefully, because I've been hammering down this, paid, owned, earned, and social media as well, and how to effectively leverage them. So paid is advertising. It used to be big billboards. Nowadays, it's everything from Twitter ads to Facebook ads, which is most accessible, right? Owned is content you create. So it could be your own blog. It could be, something that you turn into a paid advertising, but you begin, and we'll go into in the roadmap, the difference between advertorial, editorial, and the like. And then earned media, of course, is news coverage. It's stuff that you would see on the news, stuff that you would read in the magazine. And so one of the best ways that you can leverage is that if you have earned media or owned media, because nowadays sometimes those can be synonymous, right? If you're a contributor, one of the best things you can do is understand how to recycle and repurpose your content, because again, it goes down to maximizing your efficiencies with the time you have. So, writing it on your blog, maybe 50 people would read it, because if you build it, they won't come. But if you publish it first on the Huffington Post or on Entrepreneur Magazine or on Forbes, then millions of people will read it. And then we show you how, and I give you an example of my contract, you can negotiate republishing rights once you become a contributor. And so when you do that, then all you do is you click one button, you can even have it set to do it automatically, to turn around and have that go onto your own blog, so that you're not having to double create content, but that you are getting, the benefit of owned content going out to millions of people instead of 50, because I can tell you millions is better when you're trying to create big, interest into the funnels that you're putting into your business. So hopefully that's a yes for everyone. I'd love you guys that are following along in the chat to just let us know, like yes, no, and any questions, so that when I come back to the chat, I can help you guys with anything that is still not clear. I talked about this and happy to answer any other questions about this. You can, and then this is huge. Again, the difference between 50 people reading your blog or publishing your blog on a site where it actually is getting traffic is going to make a huge difference. I can tell you sometimes with the stories I publish, we'll get 100 new opt-ins, and I'm not talking web landings. I'm saying that people that are actually opting in, it's not uncommon when I publish a new story to get 100 new opt-ins a day. And so that, but that is understanding how to really effectively write valuable content. You can't, you lose trust if you write something that won't help people, right? So it's really about understanding the formula for how to write valuable content that will help, and then how to do it in a way where you don't turn it into a full-time job, because that is also very important. We want to maximize and monetize. And then also at the end of the day, it's not just about press. There's really a bigger picture. As a result of all of this, you should be getting tons of speaking requests. I turned down a lot of speaking requests. You should be getting media interviews. You should be getting so many that you're turning them down. And you should be getting also paying client requests. Again, publicity, the wonderful thing about publicity is that you will be getting so many requests that you will not be able to keep up with it. So with that, I will come back to the chat, and would love to know if you guys have, oh, awesome, Karen, I love that I answered that. And let's see, I see that Mary, you had a question here. Let's see. Just to be sure you understand, when you say My story is content and recommending. See, when you say my story is content I'm recommending and not my actual background story. Yes. Exactly. The story is the story that you're pitching. So in your case, the idea of wanting to help people to not, run themselves into the ground and to be healthy and to focus on the nutrition and self-care and all of, whichever particular angle of that you're pitching to that particular outlet, the focus is on the story, and then you give them enough of your expertise to make them understand why they should care. So yes, that would be, excuse me, see, I talk too much. I should just shut up and let, I don't know. So yeah, good. I'm glad you got it. All right, who's ready to dive into the worksheets and get some work done on their roadmaps? And I'm happy to. Awesome, Mary. Awesome. Okay, and so if you guys have questions or want to come on camera, we can absolutely do that too. Awesome, Tiffany. Awesome. Okay, so please, if you all should have gotten these via email. For those in the 10 weeks course, we also have it. We'll have it for you guys on Monday with just blanks, because this is going to be something. This will be a document you can create in writing, or you can put it on the computer. But really, this document will serve as a starting point. Hi, Shema. Glad you're joining us. This really will serve as a starting point for you to decide where you need to be investing. So I'll come up to. I'll just bring mine up on the screen and walk you guys through it and share the screen here so that you guys can see this. And let's see, before I share that one, I also will show you guys. So in your emails today, we have 2 gifts just to celebrate that this is the end of, this fun sort of free challenge we've been doing. And that, for those of you who don't know or missed it, like, the course is going live next week. So this is the last chance to enroll. Those of you guys who enroll now, for those of you who enroll when you're on the call, we actually have the receptionist standing by at my agency to take your orders. So you can either do it online on the website or on the telephone on the 800 number on the website, and I'll give that to when we go through this. But if you do it now, there is a $500 discount if you sign up while you're on this call, if you pay in full. And you also, even though we've sold out of the one-on-ones with me for the half day and the full day, you will also get the 90-minute one-on-one with me. Even if we sell out, we'll make sure, we'll figure out, and somehow my schedule, right? It's crazy. So we gave you guys, because we were just feeling generous today. We're like, we want to help people with this. This is a pilot. We're really excited with how much success. And even yesterday, I was so happy to see, like, Kelly posted and had feedback from a screenshot that was like, this person never says yes to the first pitch. And she said yes. And so I loved seeing that Kelly had posted that. So thank you again, Kelly, for posting that. But this is one of the gifts we gave you guys. So for everyone, for 2 months, my team did research. We compiled 100 plus of the top rising popular podcasts that are accepting new guests. And so for those that are in the 10 weeks course, this has already been in your dashboard for some time now. You guys have access to it. And you really, really don't want to leave this opportunity on the table. When we go through your PR, I'll reference this. So I want to show you guys. We include it too. This is just an example. So you see, some of the best practices. So definitely you want to create your PR roadmap before you pitch, because you don't want to just be wasting time or money. Time is just as important sometimes as a premium as money. So you want to make sure that you're doing that, and that you're doing it in a way where it's maximizing, what you should be focusing on. You want to make sure you've set up your digital press kit before you pitch. I got more pitches today. I had put that Haro query out for the media mention story and for another travel story I'm working on. And I got tons of pitches with attachments, and I can't use them and I don't have time. And because I had so many other good pitches, the ones with attachments just got deleted. And so the people who sent me just a quick, digital press kit, those are the ones that I was able to say, okay, yes, like I'm on a burn to get the story. I'd like to get it out really quickly. And so it's the difference between somebody saying yes or no. So make sure you have your digital press kit. The ones that we have included with the implementation program are only like 15, 30 minutes is what people have been saying it takes them to set up. So that's really, really cool. Follow the best practices. And so we included the podcast pitching template, which we generally only include for enrolled students. But I wanted to really have, everybody gets so caught up in the template. Our goal with the implementation program, and that's why we're doing it live, is to answer your questions in real time for your specific situation so that you understand it's really not about a template. A template will help you get started, but a template will never make you successful. So really, one of the best things you can do is understand their why. So in this case, because all of these people were featured in my recent story, they're all super excited about it. They've all been tweeting about it like mad, right? So the best thing you can do is sort of do the friendly stalking that we taught you in the 5 days course, follow them on all of the different social channels, make it about their story, because again, you're making it about them, not about you. Tell them, listen to their show. Tell them why it's valuable, and then really customize this. Say something here that's genuinely true. What did you enjoy about their show, and what did you learn? You wouldn't imagine the number of podcasters, and I work with a lot of clients that have podcasts, and it's interesting because so many people pitch themselves to be guests on other people's podcasts, and because everybody's so busy, they don't bother to listen to the show first. And the same is true in regular media as well. So that's a huge distinction. Just doing that can make a big difference for someone when you're pitching yourself as a guest on their show. And then of course, leaving a comment, letting them know that you subscribed, leaving a rating, doing all of that really, really helps you. And so that's how you can really stand out and make sure that your pitches are earned. And that's what Kelly said she took the advice of and did that helped her get a yes yesterday on the most recent pitch, and she's gotten a lot of yeses lately, so it's really exciting. And then give them an idea, the few topics, but keep it short, right? Keep it short, keep it simple. If you make it too long, you're going to lose them. And then here again, this is what I was talking about before of reciprocity. So depending on who they are and what they are, sometimes you will be able to suggest, something else for them. So, if it's a journalist, it's much different than a podcast. And that's why in the 10 weeks course, we'll have different templates for you guys for each different type of media. So what you're going to be pitching and the way you would position yourself with a podcast is very different than, for instance, an assignment editor or to become a contributing author. So they're very, very different pitch styles. But this gives you guys an idea at least of the podcast. And it's the one where you're least likely to go viral with a bad media mention, even if you don't know what you're doing. Because again, like we talked about earlier this week on the live streams, generally podcast hosts are other business owners who host a podcast to increase their own audience. So they don't necessarily see themselves, as the fourth estate. They probably don't even know what that means or care. They just want to reach an audience and offer content that's going to be value for their audience. One thing often for podcasts that really can help you stand out is if and we teach in the 10 weeks course about content amplification, which is the idea of running traffic, so running paid, for instance, Facebook or boosted Twitter ads to your earned media or to your podcast interview. If you take our tools in the 10 weeks course and learn how to do that and offer to do that, that can be a really good way. And for podcasts, it's perfectly ethical for you to do that. For you to offer to do that for a journalist, not as ethical. Some people do it, but it's really, for most journalists, it's kind of like, no. But for a podcast, absolutely totally ethical. And again, think of their why. A podcaster is podcasting because they want to reach a broader audience. So they're probably already running paid ads on social to their different funnels to their show. And so if you offer to come on as a guest, if you have a huge, fan base already, that can be one way, but obviously most of you are trying to get to that point, right? So one thing that you can do to make yourself more appealing to them as a guest is say, in your pitch, if not only do I have a great story, so make that first, here's all the reasons why I would be a great guest. And by the way, as a bonus, I would also love to run paid ads to my interview because I know my audience would absolutely love your show and they would likely become loyal listeners too. So that's just an idea of a pitch. We emailed this all out to you guys, so make sure you definitely go check your emails and download this. And it just has lots of great advice. And then for those of you that are in the 10 weeks course, you guys have not only that, but you have the full list of 100. And so we categorized it. So again, this is all about time. So it took my team of many people more than 2 months to organize this all and break it down from business to technology to specialty, even to construction, to relationship, to you name it, parenting. This is just sort of like a small sampling of the full list that's in the 10 weeks course, because from small to medium to large, there are many different ways that you can grow. And I always recommend, if you're just starting out, that you might start out with a smaller podcast and practice. But there's nothing like real life to really refine your skills. And then, pitch yourself for the Katie Couric show once you've landed a bit more on the, smaller shows and really gotten your messaging down and seen that it's worked. Because the last thing you want to do is waste a really good interview, right? If you are just starting out and you're not quite sure, we'll help you get there. And that's what the 10-week implementation program is designed to do. Practice in a safe space so that as you get bigger and bigger opportunities, you're able to really take advantage of them. Awesome, Mary. I'm glad that you love having it as the PDF. Okay, perfect. And that's actually good feedback. One of the things too with this being a pilot is, this whole session, the Create Your Own Roadmap session, we will, it will be a recurring theme throughout the course so that we make sure you guys that are enrolled have a fully developed roadmap kit. And it was suggested by Donna Brown, who was one of the first early enrollers in this course. So one of the things for the pilot, Mary, that's great feedback, and we will add that. We really want to take all of your suggestions in this pilot and really incorporate them. So if there's an area that we haven't thought of that you specifically want feedback and help on, then that's great, because maybe we just, again, that's why we sort of give people a taste of everything, but then we want to really hone in on the areas where you guys want the best, best use of time and resources that we can share with you. So that's an idea of that, and I'm just going to hop over now to the actual, to share my other screen with you guys so that you can see the PR roadmap, and we can just go right through that. So does anyone have questions before I start going through it? Does anyone have questions on anything that we've covered now, or the roadmap itself, the pitching template, just as we dive into this, because this will, we'll kind of go through giving you guys what you need to really stand out with, and understand where to find the roadmap. You got it in email, Shaman, so you should have gotten it in an email that came from us, and it's also in the course. But I can, if you put your email in the, if you don't have it and you want to put your email in the, check your email and let us know. But if you don't, okay, if you're not getting it, put your email in the chat, and then we'll make sure that somebody on my team can get it to you right now. It's also, this version of it is in the 5 days course, so you can pull it down there, but it's also the blank version of it we're going to be loading into the 10 weeks course, so you guys can have a version of it to really write on. Because somebody, again, this morning, someone gave me feedback that said we actually we had the blank version, and then we spent a lot of time making it pretty with photos for you guys. And someone said, when we print it, we don't want to waste a bunch of ink, right? Because we're all entrepreneurs and we want to be efficient with resources. And I thought, oh, yes, that's true. So we will have that. We will have that available. We just made this one. So make an intentional decision to standing out is really the most, one of the most important things that you guys have to do to do that. And Julie, if you haven't, we'll go ahead. Actually, the easiest way you guys can do it, so you can do it on this call, if someone can post the link to the Create Your PR Roadmap, that's actually the best way that you guys can get it. So that way you can get it actually sit and get the podcast pitching template. So if any of my team is on, I know it's, we had a bit of a light staff today because it's Friday. Kirthi has the day off, so Kirthi's not on, but I think we have a couple folks on. So if anybody can send that out so that Julie gets it, I think, perfect. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Marie. And Marie's not on my team. Marie is just an awesome friend and possibly client. So she's thank you, Marie. I know she's been going through 5 days with us for a while. And that's one of the things I love about this PR influencers community. You guys always pay it forward. But really this PR roadmap today, if you signed up today, how much is it? I know you mentioned so if you sign up today, I'll answer this question and then we'll continue on the roadmap. So when paid in full, the price is $21.97, but it's minus $500 off of that. So I'm not a math major. That's why I'm sitting here really telling you how to knock out your publicity. So I'm not gonna do that math for you. But the people on the receptionists that are standing by, they have all of the info to set you guys up with the the 90 minutes and also apply that discount when you call in during this call. So that will be applied, that discount. And if you have questions about that, just let me know, but we'll make sure. And in fact, this should be applying right now. So I'm going to have to send a quick note to my team, because when you pay in full, this will take $500 off, and we'll have it probably just in case people have payment issues, up the $500 off for just maybe another hour or two after this call ends. But it's for pay in full on both options. It's $500 off of the elite influencer level, and for $250 off of the influencer level. And you will get the 90-minute even if we sell out. So just because we didn't want to make that commitment without being able to completely fulfill it. So even if we sell out during this call, which we figured we would want it to honor it. Thank you, Karen. I love Karen is amazing. She's a writer and she's a math person, so I love that. Okay, so I want to dig right in though, and Julie, let me know if that answers your question or if anybody else has questions about that. And I think if Jacob's on too, Jacob, if you could let Courtney know that the checkout right now is not, at least the link that I clicked on is not showing the discount, so that to please make sure that that is applied so that people get the discount. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go right on ahead and go through how you add value. So you guys, many of you saw the video that I shot with the 5 steps, right? So obviously making a decision to stand out is the first step. And many people don't do that just because of mindset, implementation, or knowledge. So really we want to show you how you can, do that in a meaningful way. We've talked through this a lot. You have to add value. So we really want to show you how to do that. A big way that you will be able to do that is specifically, and do it in a non-time consuming fashion. This press kit is huge. So this link goes to the brand folder webinar that we hosted with you guys earlier this week, where we go through, does your press kit pass the 3-second scan test? I don't want you to overthink it. Your press kit really should not have more than the kits that we have set up with brand folder. It would be a $1,600 purchase if you bought it on your own. It looks super professional. I will tell you, we just booked Emmett Smith and Tony Hawk on a guest for one of my retainer clients. And I've been going back and forth with their PR teams, because each of them have like 6 different PR teams, for literally about 3 months on negotiating if they wanted to come on the show or not. And this is a show that has 500,000 monthly downloads. It's a really popular show. The show we featured on day 3. It's consistently ranked as one of the top iTunes investing podcasts. But they just weren't sure, because Joe's website, there's a lot of stuff. The website has a lot of stuff because he does real estate investing. He has multifamily apartments. There's just so much stuff. And so when a press person or a PR person goes there and quickly has to decide if that's a good aligned with their celebrity clients, strategic communication goals, so we went back and forth. And I will tell you that finally, I advised Joe's team, because we don't do all of the implementation. They're on a retainer contract with us, where again, the consulting services I give to you guys for our one-on-one clients, it's very expensive. And so what they did was they set up a brand folder, and they actually he had one of his assistants even enroll in this training so that she could get the best practices. And literally within a week of us sending the brand folder link, we booked Tony Smith, Emmett Hawk, and then just this past week, Jillian Michaels, whose people had reached out to me way a long time ago, but then completely fell off the radar when we sent back the brand folder, because I said, well, let's try it with this. They said, yes, absolutely. When can we schedule? So, and I'm not saying it's not, brand folder is great. I do love brand folder. I think they have a great product. It doesn't have to be a brand folder. What it has to be is simple. So many of you overcomplicate it, and you really, if you send somebody too much, and oftentimes our websites have to have too much, right? Because it has our about us and our this and our that. But, it's even why, if you notice for my agency, for our retainer clients, we have a separate website. The Mary Sims Public Relations Agency is marysims.com. Now, right now, we're putting all of those clients on a wait list, and we're only working on this pilot. We are directing traffic to PR influencers, but it's very intentional that we separate those brands and we separate what we do, because it's very different. And if we confuse people by giving them everything, then they just take no action. And so that's oftentimes with reporters what happens when you guys send them a link to your website. They're also not able to download your headshots quickly. It's just not easy for them, and they need it to be fast and easy to be able to use it. So that's something to really think about when you're deciding, what to include as the foundation. But really, PR is the foundation of everything, because with PR, it's free. You're not having to pay for the media coverage. So we really want to equip you guys to show you how you can invest in this as a skill. So let me know in the chat, how many hours a week, maybe it's a half hour, maybe it's an hour, maybe it's 5 hours. How many hours a week do you think that you guys would want to spend on your PR? Because that's really the key to figuring out what you can do, because anything is possible. It's just how much time and how much money you want to invest. What if you have a media page on your website? 5 hours. That's a lot. So Christian, with 5 hours, you can do a lot. Kelly, with 1 to 3 hours, you could do a lot. Tanika, with 1 to 2 hours, you could do a lot. I mean, my goal, honestly, for art, because I have a pretty high benchmark for the press that we have to get. And so, not talking about press we do for our clients, because we spend a lot of time on press on our retainer clients. But because of that, I don't like to have to spend a lot of time on our own press. Whatever it takes up front, I would invest 10 hours to create content. Yeah, no, and that's a great point, Sarah. I think in the beginning, you do have to, and so I'm talking about once it's in place, right? So in the beginning, you do need to invest a little bit more time. So in the beginning, I would say 1 to 3 hours a week in the beginning is good, because even just time like this you're spending, right, to gain knowledge, to increase your awareness. The class, we will have weekly sessions that will be about 90 minutes. So 60 to 90 minutes each week just in learning, right? And so then you're, and the way though that we're structuring the classes will be work and hours, so that you're actually implementing. You're not just sitting there, but you're actually walking away with implementation, so that when you turn around, you can be popping things into the chat that then you pop off to a reporter, and even on the call, you can be doing your pitching, so that you're getting it done, right? So that you're multitasking in a good way and actually getting it done. But I think, those hours, yes, I hate wasting time. Wasting time is wasting money. So let's not do it. Now, how much money? Because I think there's two things, right? So, some people, and I've had clients, there have been clients that came to us when we were, at the end of December, we knew we'd be launching this. So that was when we stopped accepting new retainer clients, because we shifted our focus to this. And so we said, in order to continue to service our existing retainer clients well, we're not taking on new ones. We're just going to put them on a wait list. And so what we did, and which is funny because that created greater demand, right? Whenever you decrease supply, it wasn't intentional, but it did. Because we continue to do publicity for this, it brought in more clients on that side as well. And it was interesting because I would always try to push those clients to this and say, well, in a few months we're launching this. And they would say, no, I have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of time. So I'm happy to spend $10,000 a month. I'm happy to spend $5,000 a month, but I don't want to do it myself. And so if you're not going to implement yourself, then that's really important, because this is not for everyone, right? This is for people who want to save, and PR is expensive. A cheap PR agency will cost you $2,000 a month. And oftentimes they will tell you, oh, it's going to take us, a good, year, 6 months to get things, this is a long-term investment. And that can be true. But one of the things I will say, it's true more when someone else is doing it for you than when you're doing it yourself. And one of the reasons for that is that when a PR agency works with you, a big part of what they have to do is really learn your story in order to effectively convey it themselves. In your case, you know your story. I can give you tips and tricks and best practices to take the story you're already very familiar with and quickly weave it into something that will give you very good results. So that's one of the biggest differences when you decide to take power and do your own publicity. It also gives you the contacts and the investment in a skill that lasts you forever. So whether you have 1 business or 10 businesses, you can apply those same tactics across multiple different platforms. Let's see. Okay, Karen had a question. Let's see. Does the money spent on the course count? Yes. I mean, I think that, we have to be realistic, right? So it's, ultimately, when you think about what you want to budget for it, you want to think about the long-term investment. So obviously there's the investment in the course, but then also, you want to think about, for instance, social media is somewhere where once you have a hit with earned media, say for instance, you get booked as a guest on a local television show. Well, that's great. And that's going to generate a good return for you. But what would be a better return? A better return would be letting us show you how to take that clip from local television, turn it into a social media ad. But then that depends on how much budget. Now, I will tell you that even with like $5 a day, you can actually, we've gotten the clicks. Many people, I keep getting people telling me they've seen the Facebook ads, and I haven't updated them in a while. But the last time I looked, one of the ads is down to 0.0004 cents. And now I always like to experiment. Sometimes I'll play around and I'll do an ad that winds up costing me like $10 per click, right? But for the most part, we've used the strategies, on social to share and have the comments be really highly curated, so that when we're running ads to our earned media, we're only paying, 0.0004 cents or 0.0001 cents. So those are workshops we'll go into in the course, and you don't have to know it now. But the point is that it's all about how much time and how much money, right? So good, better, best. Nothing isn't going to bring any new clients into your business. Going on television is certainly going to help people see you in a different light. And then understanding that there are even ways you can sort of beyond that, if you're willing to spend a little bit more money or a little bit more time, have it really work for you even better, is what we show you in the 10 weeks course. And again, it's your choice, right? Because it's all about, at the end of the day, how much time and how much money you have to invest, because you can always be doing more promotion. You can always be doing more PR. And when you understand how to do it yourself, you can do it very effectively and very efficiently for a lot less time and a lot less money. And especially as you get better at doing it, you'll find yourself spending less and less. Oh, Miko, can you explain more of the importance of a press kit? Yes, I will. Let's see. I can answer it live. Let's see. Sorry, this was a Q&A that came in. I see the importance of a press kit, and I think someone else had that. I think maybe it was Karen. Karen, if you want to pop a link to your website in here, I would say, and Miko, same thing. I think that the importance of a press kit is that it's not everything. So when you send a reporter your website, they generally, even if you have a media page, there's just so much for them to get lost on. I get this from people all the time. They send me, these links, these websites, and I just don't have time. So I don't get that one quick thing that they want me to have. And so if you watch the Brand Folder website, awesome, Karen, and I can click on this. I'm sharing a different screen. We'll come back to this and look on this. And Karen, you're in the course, so we will spend time making sure that your media kit passes the 3-second scan test, because that's really what you want to do. Is you want to make sure, yes, absolutely. Well, we will make sure that we do that when we focus on your pitch. And so it doesn't have to be a brand folder, but whatever you're sending people, you want to make sure that you're not losing them, that you're not confusing them, and that also you're able to track whether or not they opened it. So that's one of the cool things with the press kit and with the brand folders that all of you guys have now, and Karen, you have one in the course, is it takes about 15 minutes to set up. And when you send that link out, you know if someone opens it or not. And one of the biggest challenges for many of you is you might have different things that you would be pitching depending on the audience or who you're pitching. And so just being able to ease of quickly swapping that out if you don't want to deal with the technical overwhelm that can come with, trying to update it on WordPress and actually make it look like a very good visual representation of your brand. So that's one of the benefits with the digital press kit. Otherwise, it's just, things like, if a reporter needs a certain size, for instance, with brand folders, the ones that you guys have gotten in the course, that magic resize is available. So you can send them the one link and they can resize it to whatever size they need, whatever size their graphics department needs. They can take that high-res photo and make it what it needs to be without having to come back to you 5 or 6 times. Because the truth is they won't even come back to you once. If you send them something and it's not in the right format, then they just won't use it. But if you send them a link to say, here's a press kit and these images are designed to be used by your graphics team and can be actually manipulate it to whatever size you want automatically just by sharing this link, then that makes it easy. And if you make it easy, then the chances are they'll include it. So that's one of the big differences there, just in terms of best practices. So I'm happy, and please, if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat. I'm happy to continue to answer them, and I'll just keep moving along as we go here. So we talked about time again, the foundation of your PR roadmap, because you can always, I'll give you guys skills like you could be on TV every day if you want to, right? But that would take a lot of time. It wouldn't necessarily take a lot of money, but it would take a lot of time. So it's just about how much time you really have to invest while still doing your other business development, and also what's going to make the greatest impact. Because I also say, so we talked earlier about the contributor model and how that can help to spur business development just by creating relationships with other influencers who potentially might not have, so quickly taken even your call, but who instead are like eager to speak with you because they want to be featured in whatever, publication you're writing for. So the same that really that really can spur business development and partnerships that really can be lucrative for business. On the other side of that, doing a television interview, the difference between doing maybe one, a month, or one every 3 months, or one every 6 months, or even 1 or 2 a year, versus like trying to book them out every week, honestly, you probably won't see a huge difference in your business at the levels that you guys, that most of you, if you're somebody who doesn't need a PR agency. And so that's one of the things that for us, we want to make sure you guys approach it, really from a point and perspective with that as well, is you want to, you certainly in the beginning will probably want to get out there a little bit more just so you're practicing and you're happy with the outcome. And with the media trainings that we do, we'll teach you how to improve your on-camera presence, and we'll help you jump to the next level so that you are happy. And once because the last thing you want to do, right, is have an interview. I'll never forget, and my husband loves to tease me. I was staffing, I was working, hosting a press conference and staffing Lisa Jackson, who at the time was the Obama appointee for the Environmental Protection Agency. And we did a big press event. And while they were doing a press event, they were also doing a documentary on my career and being a veteran and working in the media and all of this stuff. And so it's this great documentary that all these people are interviewed about how I bring press to all these events, and they filmed it at this press event, and they were following me. And it's like, it would be the perfect calling card, right? Like if I wanted to use that, it would be great, but I don't use it. Now, if you Google it, I shouldn't tell you, if you Google it, you can find it. But like I hate my it's like, it's a horrible, my outfit is horrible, my hair is horrible. And I knew better. I'd been in the business for a long time, and my husband teases me because he's like, I told you the night before you did that you had gotten your haircut was really not good. I told you that, and you said you were fine. So even pros can make a mistake, and that's why we always will teach you guys, always make sure the human eye does see things differently than the camera eye, and always make sure that you are practicing it on camera before you're doing it live, so that whatever piece you get, you don't want to have a big clip like me, right? That great documentary clip that I have, I don't use because I hate the way I look at it. And so you don't want to walk away saying, I hate it the way I sounded, I hate it the way I looked, I wish I would have said this. We want to equip you with the skills so that you can best take advantage of those opportunities. And once you get to that point, you really will only need to be booking 1 or 2 of those type of interviews a year to really make a difference in a way where you can insert them into the funnels in your business. And so for each of you, it will be different. That's my husband. So he's saying always beautiful. Thank you, dear. Even though he didn't say that about it. He reminds me every time we do that video. Do you have recommendations on what to wear if you're on camera? Crystal, yes. And so Crystal, I saw the video that you did, that you posted, and I would say one thing, for me, red is a good color. So I love red. I'll often use red. Black is a good color on camera. White, depending on the person, for me, white looks really good on camera. I like it. It's a photographer's nightmare. So if you're doing an outdoor interview, it's not always great because the lighting can be difficult. Black is not, it really doesn't, it depends on the person, depending on if you go into the whole color scheme, if you're a fall, winter, summer, you really, the best thing you can do is take a picture in the outfit to see how you like it. And the other thing that you can really do is make sure that you're wearing clothes that you feel comfortable in, because if you don't feel comfortable, it's not going to look good. But if you go back, if you guys go to the Facebook page, I did a whole session, I did a whole live stream on how to look and sound good on camera. And we, in the 10 weeks course, actually go into a whole module on how to look and sound good on camera, and actually give you guys the tips and tools to setting up a studio on any budget, from lighting to everything else. So those are all modules that we'll go through and you guys will get. So again, so now let's put your PR, let's dig in and put your roadmaps together. I love that. I love that you guys are like really digging in on this. And Crystal, though, I did want to mention, yes, in the interview you did, you want to think about too what your business is and professionalizing it. So, that was a great opportunity. That was a great interview. And you want to think about wearing, what would you wear to meet with a client, so that clients that see you in that light. What would the background be? And this is what we talked about in that live stream I'm mentioning, what we go into in the course. What are the best practices for all of those things? Because you have to remember that your background tells a story faster and first than anything you even say and that comes out of your mouth, as does your outfit and your entire appearance. So that is certainly important when you're thinking about television. So let's see in the chat, let's go through the PR Snapchat. We've covered the different types of media mentions. What type of media mentions, and I asked this at the beginning, but want to put it here so you guys are filling out this worksheet as you go along. What type of media mentions have you had, and have you seen an increase, in sales or clients or revenue from those? Have you guys connected those funnels in your business? So for those of you guys, anybody on now would love to know what types of media mentions have you guys had, and then share with us what increase have you guys seen in your business as a result of them. Would love to hear from any of you guys who are wanting to share on that. Yes, Miko, I absolutely agree. And Miko is a wonderful celebrity makeup artist. For those of you guys who are not familiar with Miko's work, she can help you make sure you look amazing on camera. So she is somebody who really gets that visual appearance does matter. Just got booked for a job. Whoa, wow. Just got booked for a job from the Inc. coverage. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations, Kelly. I love that. And Kelly is in our 10 weeks program now. And Kelly is just an amazing woman. I love her voice. Gosh, she's, but see, Kelly gets it when it comes to PR. She understands probably more than most how PR really can power your business. Contributor to local wellness pubs, generated 1 lead. Awesome, Mary. So, and that, I think that this is where, Mary, do you have a funnel in what I'd love to know what your funnel is, because I think that's one challenge with people, and one reason that, for instance, the 5 days course was so successful is you really have to over deliver the value, and you have to figure out how you can do it in a way that's scalable, right? So offering one-on-one strategy sessions probably isn't scalable if you're doing that in mass, but figuring out in your own business, what can you give people that they really, really want, that you can offer that would help them, so that you're developing trust. And again, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about in the article, a link to something that you can include that then captures them onto your mailing list, because otherwise you'll probably never see them again unless, but also things that we'll go into in the course, the best practices. You want to make sure you have the Facebook pixel installed. I mean, there's even fancy ways. We've worked with some of the Facebook ads experts, and that's, beyond PR, but we go in and we cover, at least because each of you will need something different. In the 10 weeks course, we do cover what it is that you guys need, so that you can spend just that amount of time on that one thing to make a difference. But even just, installing, making sure the Facebook pixel is properly installed, and having, a lot of things on your website set, so that when you're running coverage, when you publish coverage, whether it's owned coverage or a contributor type column, that you're really maximizing it, can be huge. Karen, you've been on about 5 podcasts, 2 guest webinars, then I guess no increase in bets. And this is, so Karen, that's where it's message, right? So right here, it's really important to then refine the message, and then also the approach and the story. So I'm excited to work with you on this. And I know Karen actually signed up and got one of the, she was one of the ones who took one of the half-day VIPs. So we'll be able to work together on that. And I think that'll be really help you to see. I'm glad we talked this morning, and Karen just signed on early this morning. I talked to Karen at like 6 a.m. this morning or something like that. So let's see. Marie's not seeing the questions. They're no, sorry, Marie. So I can only see the questions on Zoom. I'm on Zoom. So if you hop onto Zoom, I can't see, I'm not on Facebook, but I'm on Zoom. So if anybody, I'm glad you mentioned that though. If anybody is watching this on Facebook Live in the PR Influencer Academy, you can join us on Zoom if you want to have any just live feedback. I'm happy to share that. No funnel, yes. So definitely having a funnel is one of the really important things that we advise. And when you go beyond media mentions to scaling media mentions, it's really important to make sure you're having that. Yeah, Marie, we will have the replay, but the discounts will be expiring. So we have the $500 discount off for those who are on the webinar, and they guaranteed 90 minutes. So you can call in to the phone number, and they can take you through that, or you can do it on the website if you decide you wanted to join the program. Let's see, and then the enrollment is ending because we are starting next week, so we're almost to the end of the enrollment, and we're excited to get started with you guys. and really help you, figure out what type of media mentions you need. So I think for all of you that are on, what are the type of media mentions that you want? What are the ones that you think will make the most difference in your business? And I think for each of you, this is going to be unique. And that's why you don't have to worry about knowing everything. That's why it's really simple when you really boil it down to what your needs are. For many of you, it will be just having a few of the sessions. So Leslie, for those of you guys who bought, you think you bought at the early adopter level. So for you guys, you do have the option, if you want to buy at this level, you can do that, and we will honor the pricing discount difference. With the people that are buying now, they are not getting you guys enrolled at the early adoption level. So I think we announced earlier, we are going to have discounting, and we did set aside a block of one-on-ones for folks that are already in the course that we'll be announcing and rolling out next week. So definitely, if you want one of those, we can work with you and my team to make sure that you guys, we've gotten that question from a lot of the early adopters, and we want to make sure that we take care of you guys. So we did set aside a block of those, yes. Media mentions in the industries that hire me. Yes, and that's exactly it, Kelly. You want to make sure. Awesome, Mary. Yes, we'll get those. Kirthi is already spun up. We've already been working with Courtney and the whole team this week to make sure you guys have that as an option as well. And so for those of you that are looking at landing media, you really want to it's only about focusing on the media mentions that'll make the most difference in your business, right? So that's where we give you the contacts, and that's a big piece of it. A lot of people don't realize that, if you email Scoop at Huffington Post, you're going to hear back on like the 12th of November at 9 o'clock at night, if ever. But if you understand who the actual editorial contacts are and you follow our advice and your templates, then you will get responses, even when it's not something they're looking for on Haro. So that's really important to understand. And oftentimes, it really is simply focusing on, the best, framework, and what we do each week in the 10 weeks course is we give you implementation activities, so that once you fill this out, and with our guidance, we'll give you live feedback. For those of you that are enrolled in the course, we'll continue to go through these sessions so that you guys make sure you have specifically figured out your roadmap based on how much time you have to invest, right? So if you only have an hour a week or a half hour a week, once you do go through the learning, then my recommendation is that you focus on maybe 2 pitches a week. And once you have your foundation down, you can easily fire off 2 pitches a week, because we'll give you all the contacts. So what you would have spent all your time doing is researching all of those contacts. We give you the contacts. We set up these influencer connections, and we even have a podcaster speaking dating session. So we spend all the time so that you guys don't have to. And then you just spend your time customizing your pitch, which you can do in about a half an hour, to send out to at least 2 a week. And really the key is consistency, though. It's really consistency. And so you really have to understand, and we talked about that, your story is not about you. The media doesn't care about your business. They don't care about your book. They don't care if you have a book. They care if you have expertise, and they care if you have a story. The other really cool thing that we're doing in the course that we're going to give you guys is newsjacking tips. So that's why enrollment is ending, because this is a live course. So, you can watch this on the replay, but it won't be the same as, when you actually, I don't know if you can watch it on the replay, because I don't know yet what we're going to do with the recordings for people that don't buy into the course. But if you actually are live, one of the things that we are going to be doing is each week giving you the newsjacking topics for that week, because that can be huge. So Mary, as I explained to you yesterday, you are looking at pitching people around ideas of wellness and, nutrition, and the fact that so many of us, work ourselves into an early grave. And so we've seen in the last few years so many celebrities that have passed away from different tragic situations. And so, that's one example. Another example is what happened with this United Airlines debacle when the man was dragged off the plane. There are so many areas of business where you could not turn on the news for about 2 days and not see someone weighing in on that. The same was true, if you guys remember the situation where the man who was working from home from his studio doing a television interview, his family sort of barged in, and the wife frantically tried to help and grab the kids. That's another newsjacking topic. And I actually know someone who became a contributor for Entrepreneur because she wrote an article about, best practices to work at home in light of that event. So we will identify for you, because sometimes they're obvious, sometimes they're not. But as a journalist for, almost 20 years, they're obvious to me. So each week we'll give you guys kind of the rundown and answer your questions to get you spun up on potential newsworthy topics that you can newsjack to be able to utilize in your own press outreach. Is the best practice for the pitch to be morbid? Absolutely not. Not at all. No, never. So, there are going to be different things that happen in the news. Sometimes someone's death is newsworthy. Obviously, like you all remember, at least I do, about this time last year when Prince passed away. Whitney Houston, many years ago. So there are people who are celebrities who are indelible in our minds and our hearts. And, whenever we lose someone like that, it stays in the news. And one of the things that newsrooms have to do is they have to localize national stories. So when everybody's talking about a story, whatever that story is, whether it's good news or bad news, that's the story that they're covering. So if you find a way, and we'll tell you the way with the newsjacking tips each week, if you find a way to make that a story that you can offer up your expertise on, then oftentimes they will feature your expertise in the story. Yes, I know, I loved Whitney so much. It was very sad when she passed. So, and you guys should have already done this. This is where again, what we try to do is connect the dots for you in a way where it builds upon the work you've already done. So if you did the homework, you guys should already have your 3 angles. And so I'm just going to take a moment to give you ideas. And for those of you that missed any of the live streams this week that we taught, we will through the course help you refine your story angles and help you understand the difference. So some of them are evergreen, right? An evergreen story is what Mary pitched yesterday on what I was just speaking about, wellness. But the way that you would make that newsworthy is the example I just showed, is you have these. So you have these in your Google Drive, in your Dropbox, in your brand folder, ready to go. And then when it comes up and we give you an idea for a newsjacking topic, you're able to very quickly just change 1 or 2 sentences, but the foundation that you've worked through with us in the PR implementation program is already there. And then you understand how to really just spend 5 or 10 minutes to update it. You already have the media contact, so you know who you send it to, because now you have the knowledge to know the difference between an assignment editor and a reporter, and then you're able to get a response. So that's really, Laura, you can watch those. They're all on the Facebook page. And yes, and we will go, don't worry, because even if you missed stuff that we went through in the free course, this was really designed to give people an introduction, but we're going to be going through in the paid course in a much more efficient way to give you guys the, what we did with the early adopters was many of them had VIP publicity calls. And so we took all of the questions and got to know all of the things that you guys really wanted. And then we bulleted that and we turned that into worksheets. So even though I like to say I hate worksheets, it's not about worksheets. It's about having the knowledge to then make a difference and the instincts to make a difference. For beginners, if you're starting out, no matter what level you're jumping to, I have recognized that in order to have you guys have maximize and monetize with efficiency, that having some worksheets is a good idea. So really, this course is about equipping you with the knowledge and instinct to be able to manipulate the worksheets, but don't feel like if you miss any of this stuff, you won't be able to get it in 10 weeks. And everything is also available in the 10 weeks course or in the on the Facebook page or in the PR Influencers and 10 Weeks group. So you'll be able to get it there also, Laura. This is a really cool bonus, and I encourage you guys to do this. This we covered yesterday with Professor Westman, one of my Harvard professors, who talks about the persuasion equation. And this is really fun because when you think about a story pitch and how you work on your story pitch, this is a really fun exercise. And for those of you that are in 10 weeks, I'll actually work through this with you when we go back and are refining your pitch and we work in real time on these, because you really will be amazed with how well these questions will help you to create disruptive story angles. So we want to really help you to create disruptive story angles so that people can not only, say yes to your pitch, but that your pitch is something that then resonates and really gets people energized. I would say the best thing to do to prepare, Laura, is to complete this worksheet, right? So to complete this worksheet and to watch some of the live streams that we've definitely watched, the brand folder live stream, and set up your brand folder. So setting up your brand folder should only take you about 10 or 15 minutes if you already have a lot of your assets created, like your headshot. But if you watch the webinar with Janae, that's linked at the top of this PDF that we sent out, that will give you a good sense of how she gave some cool tricks. And then Brand Folder is going to be actually hosting a session with all of you in 10 weeks to build your brand folders. So they will be there to actually help you with more advanced. And that's why we recommend it, to get the most out of their time, that you guys do the simple stuff in advance. So that way you could really reserve the advanced questions for them. And again, it's all about jumping to the next level so that you're able to do that. So, you want to think about, and this is key, right? So, we'll go through with your roadmap, who would care? So before you're pitching your story idea, and this is where we're going to be providing you with contacts, in the course and you guys, and if you want more contacts, you can always also purchase more media contacts, but we're going to be giving you a pretty good amount of contacts. When at the end of the day, there are a million, literally, different specialty type of publications. So understanding, you guys see even how Haro is organized, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's business, whether it's local news, whether it's mommy blogs, we will help you to understand what news angle. So when you go back and then you take these 3 things, how you can connect 1, 2, or 3 to each of these, because really it's ultimately about who would care. And once you understand that and you're pitching it to the right person, then that's when you get a yes. That's when you get the media coverage that you're wanting to really connect your PR to business development. And then, at the end of the day, people are always concerned with, but I don't know anyone. Who do I know? And I like to say that, after being in the business for so long, I do have a lot of connections, but I don't always rely on my connections. I rely on the strength of the story. And because the way I've created connections has always been pitching really, really strong stories. So if you understand, again, if it's about instincts, that's more important than who you know. But because I know that it's about what the market wants, you all want to have those media connections. That's why we created a program where we actually are connecting you with influencers. So for those of you that enrolled at the elite level, you get the influencer introduction panel, where we're actually connecting you to influencers, and we're going to have a whole slew of opportunities that will actually book you into real world media mentions, like the podcast speed dating sessions that I've already mentioned. So really, and definitely, for many of you, this is, again, I think something that in your sort of repertoire, once you develop those personal relationships, however you do it, then the nice thing is those relationships are lasting, right? So as long as you nurture them, and again, in PR, I always like to think about, doing something that's mutually beneficial. So you really think about how you can best benefit and serve the other person, while also hopefully, doing something that's promoting what you're trying to do, and that's how you really create long-lasting relationships in PR with the type of influencers that can then help to continue you to grow your audience and attract new clients and new revenue into your business. And so really going from media mentions to paying clients. A big place that people often miss this mark is message. So if you're not talking about, if your message doesn't solve the problems your ideal clients face, then you're not going to be getting ideal clients. If you don't understand the market. So, the reality is most of you can't be everywhere, right? So understanding, where are your ideal clients? What are the publications that you read in your industry? What are the publications that your ideal clients read? What websites do they visit? What social media sites do they use? And then again, looking at what your budget and what your time investment is going to be is how you can decide how and where to maximize and monetize. And then again, really making sure that before you do it, you have funnels and systems set up, and we'll help you with, some of those best practices, because ultimately, if you just go out there and do media coverage, it's not going to really make a difference in your business. Certainly becoming a contributor and creating new relationships will help to spur lucrative business development opportunities and cool partnerships. But at the end of the day, in terms of attracting paying clients and new revenue into your business, a lot of that starts with message. And so we'll make sure that you guys are equipped. And I love that, for those of you that are in the 10 weeks, I love seeing your messages evolve, because I think many of you have really captured that. And what the pitches and the messages I've seen coming back from you guys really do specifically speak to understanding how you need to be presenting your expertise in a way that it solves the problems that your ideal clients face, because ultimately that's what's going to actually helping them, right? Actually helping them in a way that is scalable is what makes them realize that you could be somebody that actually could help them with a problem that they're having. And that's where the message is at the foundation of all of it. And then, deciding which type of media. So I'd love to see in the chat, for you guys, what do you think, what types of media is earned? Earned media is often the sexiest, so to speak, right? But it's also the one that's the most confusing. And so that's why we aim to break it down. And really my formula and what I recommend is that you understand earned media. You approach podcasts first and then news outlets. So long form interviews on local television, being a contributor, becoming a contributor, earning and understanding how to do that, and then earning the media coverage. And then from there, turning around and posting it organically on social media. And if you've done everything that will help you do with your message, then you'll find that the content in and of itself is shareable. So, right, so the stories that I do, and we'll also teach you tricks. Like one of the tricks that you can use is roundup articles. Roundup articles are a great way, and we'll give you guys the framework for that you actually power up your story. Like take my podcasting story, for instance. There are 100 people with pretty large audiences who are specifically invested in wanting that story to be shared. So that story, since I published it about a week and a half ago, it gets shared every day, a couple times a day on various social channels without me running any ads. I haven't even bothered running ads to it because all these other people are. But that's something else you can think about, and we give you guys the strategies and tools to best sort of do that and have an impact. And then again, really understanding the difference between advertisements, advertorial, and editorial. There are a lot more ethical constraints on editorial. So we'll make sure you guys understand it's completely ethical to run paid ads to editorial content. But if you don't understand how to properly disclose business relationships and how to sort of ethically share your own expertise and your own business when you're doing an advertisement, or if it looks like an advertorial without you properly disclosing it, then you can not only get into trouble with the FTC, but you can have a whole lot of other fines and issues on your hands. And then that's not just in the US, it's actually most countries have similar rules. So would love to know, so what are your goals? What are your goals for Media Mentions for the next 90 days? That's really what would love to hear from you guys. And thanks, Crystal, good to see you. Would love to see, what are your goals? Because I'd love to know, that's really, I think, making a commitment to how you guys are going to step into the spotlight really is the key. So this is where I think, you guys, and maybe this is a bit of thought, because this requires you to understand how much time and how much money. I would say it's reasonable to say that if you're willing to invest, at least 30 minutes a day once you have the knowledge. So let's say an hour, let's say starting out 1 to 3 hours even initially is a good week, is a good amount. And you could even do an hour a week. And then my goal for all of you really with going through the 10-week implementation program is that once you have the knowledge, it really should only take you about 30 minutes to an hour a week to really have a great impact and be booking yourself regularly on these type of shows or writing. And so one of the things too that we'll show you and do a workshop on is some of the best practices for just really increasing and maximizing your time efficiencies. So that's what I'm excited to really dig in with you guys on as we begin next week, for those of you guys that are already enrolled in the program, and really think about what your wish list is for media, right? So that's huge too. And when you think about your wish list for media, it really needs to be the type of publications that your ideal clients are reading. What are they looking at? What are they reading? And that's where you really want to have the biggest focus and what we're going to help you guys with for those of you guys that are in the course. So that is really, that's your roadmap. How you get there, you know, is with our help. And for those of you guys that are enrolled, I think you guys have a great start. We're going to really be connecting you to Media Mentions, and I'm really excited to just see the program taking off and see the success that all of you guys that have been in the program have had so far, because the last thing we want to do is have you guys have, you know, Media Mentions and then not be happy with those Media Mentions. So I'm going to pop over and I'll show you guys just the website. Let's see, and we have, and would love any questions. Yeah, so I think in the calls once a week we'll have our 60 to 90 minutes in the beginning, and then once you have, you know, everything that you guys need, you also have to think about the time it takes to do the actual interviews, right? And so that's why I say in the beginning the investment in time is a little bit more, but what we will set up these calls to do, you know, and really what the goal is that if you guys are filling out the worksheets and doing the homework, then on the call, you should be implementing in real time. And I know many of you guys did that this week with the brand folders. Many of you guys, while we were on the call, you had your digital media kits done and ready to go. You had kind of done the pre-work, but then with the tips that Janae was giving, you did it in real time, you know. And so that's really my goal, is to make it something that you guys show up and actually get work done and get the questions answered that help you break through to the next level. So that's really where we want to focus and having the most impact. Yes, no, I think that will really, and all of you guys are already doing that. So I'm excited for that. And I'll show you guys my screen. I think if you guys can see my screen, I'll show you just the, oh, awesome, Karen, it came up. So I don't know if Karen is still on, but this is great. So Karen, this is great. This does pass my 3-second test. Now the only challenge here though is, see, then I go too much. So if I'm a reporter and you're sending me this, if I am a member of the Fourth Estate, you've now given me everything. So one of the biggest things you can do with reporters is you want to very tightly control the message. So if you want them to cover something very specific about you, you need to send them something very short, because you know that there's very limited time and space in what they're going to be covering. So this is great for instance, a speaking engagement, or for instance, you know, some type of opportunity where you're trying to show somebody, hey, look, I have all these media mentions, and look, I've been featured in these places, and look, here's this. But the last thing you want to do when you have a very specific focus for an interview and you're trying to create an interview that will be perhaps a funnel that, you know, will share your expertise in a specific light, is give a reporter everything, because then they'll dig around and they'll decide what questions they want to ask you. So that's why I really recommend the digital media kits, and that's why I really recommend and will help you hone them to your very, very specific message, because when that's all you give them, then that is what the questions are based upon. So that's really important, and we'll teach you guys how to do that effectively, so that again, you're asking the reporters the right questions and giving them the information that really naturally pushes them down a path to make it the information that you really are wanting to have highlighted in that session. So, and I will just pop over to our website and show you guys, we are ending enrollment, I think this weekend or Monday is the last final day, but today is the only day for this sort of just the Create Your PR Roadmap, $500 off that we're going to do. So this one, if you call this number, the number's on the website, it's the enrollment. We have folks that are standing by right now to enroll you guys in the course, and anybody, only for those that are on the webinar. If you're not live on the webinar, you won't get it, but we will reserve the 90-minute sessions with me for those that are purchasing at this level with the discount. And so it's $500 for pay in full off of the $2,100, or $215 off of the $1,700 for the influencer level. So depending on whether you want the elite, and the difference between the elite and the influencer, both options come with a digital press kit. Both options, you will get really, really a good introduction into landing really good media mentions to build your business, right? So setting up your PR and then understanding how to power it with really good media mentions that will actually make a difference in your business development. The difference with the elite is that we'll do, the murder board press conferences, we'll do, pitch workshops, not just with me, but with media insiders. And we will do the podcast speed dating session and the influencer introduction panel. So it's really just, it extends the course. It gives you longer, and more opportunities really to just meet with influencers if that's something that's valuable to you. But I think both options are great. It really just depends on what your needs are. And I think creating your PR roadmap really can help you to determine that. But again, everybody who's on the call today will get the 90-minute session. And we'll have, for you guys, really a really fun time on Monday. Monday is actually the first session for all of you that are already in the course. It's the first pre-course pitch workshop, and so we've been kind of practicing the pitch all along. So for many of you, you guys are already have really, really cool pitches going along. But this, the topic for you, and I think the thing you have to ask yourself is, what have I been doing to stand out, and has it made a difference? And do I really want to use PR to sort of effectively, what do I want to use it for? Because I think that's ultimately the goal, right? Is like, if you want to grow your audience, if you want to attract new clients, then really kind of understanding some of these things is what we want to sort of help connect you to. So happy to answer any questions on the roadmap, on anything. And I think we're, almost, Laura, what day and time? So the 10 weeks, you guys would have all on the thank you page, and in 10 weeks is the full schedule. So you guys have all of that. But the Monday, we have the first pre-course workshop, which you're all invited to, and all of the registration for that, you should have gotten an email, and it's also in the Thinkific dashboard. But we'll make sure, I'll ask my team to resend out just a reminder and post in the 10 weeks course, the links for that. So Monday, there is a pre-course workshop that's optional, but you guys are all welcome to attend. It's a pitch workshop, but it's only for those who've paid, who've bought into the program. And then Tuesday is the first official course. So Tuesday at 2:30 Pacific is when we kick off the first live official course. And then we do take a break the week of July 4th. And then the course ends, I believe, August 22nd is the last course. And then we have the podcaster speed dating session scheduled. I believe it's later that week. I think it's August 24th off the top of my head. Laura, yes. Oh yeah, we can definitely, you've got, we'll get that sorted. And that's something too, for those of you that are buying today, just make sure that the email you purchase with is the email you want to have course access with. Because I know, and I do the same thing, many of us will enroll onto a list with a different email address, but then just because of the course delivery being conducted using your email as a login, then that can, I think, create challenges. So certainly happy to sort that out, Laura. We'll definitely get that taken care of. And yes, everything is recorded and then placed into the Thinkific dashboard. So absolutely, if you guys miss something, you'll be able to catch up. And we're really committed to making all of you successful, because this is the pilot for the program. And I love seeing these success stories from those of you guys who are already in it. And so really my commitment, and that's why we've put on hold and retain our clients on a wait list. We really want to focus on this because we think that it can really grow into something. And in the future, we probably won't run it live. This is our opportunity to run it live, get all of your feedback. And in the future, it probably won't be a live course. So really the value that you guys are getting out of all of it, and in the future, it probably won't have the brand folders or anything like that. So what you guys are getting, I think comparatively is pretty tremendous. But we're just excited to see your success, because I think that it's been a fun ride, and it's been really cool to see something that so many people are intimidated by, just really be something that you shouldn't have to be intimidated by, because it really is simple when you could just apply a few very quick principles to customize, compel, and reach out to the right contact to get your message heard. Oh, Donna, yes, I love working with you guys. You guys are awesome. Awesome. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, I hope you all have a beautiful weekend. Don't forget, we'll send out an email with the exact timing to end the discount. But basically, we'll give folks about an hour and a half from the end of this webinar with those discounted prices. And then our last day to enroll will be Monday. So thank you all so, so much. And really excited to have all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. This has been an amazing, amazing fun ride. And you guys are just an amazing tribe. So I'm looking forward to the actual course starting next week. All right. Have a good weekend, everybody. Take care.